Hi, I'm Desmond from McKean Games, and today I'm going to be showing off my universal spawn system that I plan on submitting to Unreal Engine 4's marketplace. So first, I'm going to show you how it works. I'm just going to jump into this modified third-person blueprint example map, and here we are. So you see here, you see ray traces firing down, and as they hit the ground, an object is spawned. Basically, this is how it works, and I basically have it to where it's scalable. That way, so it's one blueprint, so you just drop it into your list, and it basically just works after a few examples. But you see, it spawns within a certain cone range. If I look behind me, or kind of like right around here, none of them have spawned. That's because I also have it to where it spawns in the cone, and I'll show you that in just a second. So let's hop out here. So, if I were to go over here to the world outline and click on the actual world spawn BPs, it's a blueprint name. Cancel all save, don't need that. But if I look out here, I'll see the radius as it'll be in, oh, well, I thought I had in green, but I guess I don't. Whatever. Anyway, so here it is. It basically works like a, it goes off the, collision radius kind of thing. And so you can scale it pretty easy, obviously, just like regular UE4 tools and whatnot. Then if you look over here towards the properties here, you got the spawn properties all neatly in a category. And I made sure I try to make it scalable to where there's a few different features here. You have use max spawn, which will basically correlate to this right here, the spawn limit. So let's try that real quick. Use max spawn, and it'll spawn 5 total if you're in the radius. So you see blue guy here, and then see 5 little ray traces going on. They'll disappear in a second. Only 5 objects spawn. You can use that to control if you want to set a limit for how much objects you want to spawn. Now, there's also spawn frequency, which will spawn objects within a certain amount of speed. So if you want to spawn instantly, you just set both these values to 0, for example. And then, whoa, okay. Yeah, I forgot to turn off the max spawn, but let's see that again. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so you can just have it just pretty much spawn almost instantly. That was amazing. Anyway, so I'm gonna set that back to 0.5 and 0.6 for demonstration purposes. Next is the spawn angle. Inside of here, I set up to where it'll spawn in a cone shape based off the direction of your character. That way, because like if you notice in the open world game and you're running around the open world, you would run to enemies. Like say in Skyrim, you would run to a wolf fight. That wolf doesn't always spawn behind you. And so that's why I have an adjustable cone angle that you can adjust right here. One's kind of like a small, somewhat 30 degree to 45 degree angle, and you can adjust it kind of by your how you see fit. But yeah, I did that mainly for open world games. I mean, you can do it for linear games too, but for open world games, it really helps to determine where your objects are going to spawn. That way, so you don't have them spawn behind you, and then they have a gun, they shoot you, and everything from behind. It gets a little cheap, so. That way, so they don't spawn behind you if you don't want it to, but it still can if you want to. So, to demonstrate that, see it says 1 right there, and you saw it spawn kind of at the general area. I'm gonna set to 2. It's a little bit wider at 2, and so there's that. See it spawn kind of towards that side. It's way over there now. See, it's a lot wider. It looks about 135 degrees or so. I'm gonna set it back to 1 for demonstration purposes. Now, this is self-explanatory here, but I'm just gonna explain it anyway. If you look, let me do that. Backspace. Over here, minimum spawn distance and maximum spawn distance. That's basically how the range and they will spawn. So you saw how they were spawning way over there from the distance. If I were to go to say knock off the zeros here, 200 to 400, that'll be much closer. So yeah, see that right there? They're like way closer on you right now. And so that's how that one works. So I'm going to set the default back to 2000, 4000 for demonstration purposes again. Now, trace height. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. As I was working on this, I found that objects, before I had to ray trace, objects would spawn through the ground and under the ground. And so I needed a way to have it where they always spawn on top of the ground. So that's where the ray trace comes in. The ray trace actually spawns in a random location based off your criteria up here. And what it would do is that it would fire downward at a certain distance, which you could check the trace distance here, and that will that would basically shoot down and check for a ground. If it hits a ground, then it will spawn an enemy. That way, so it's always 100% guaranteed to hit the ground, and that way it's a safe area for your actor or AI to spawn. And trace height is where it starts at. Trace distance is how long it will go downward. And of course, you can adjust this, or you can make it go upward if you needed it to, or whatever the case may be. And I recommend that you only just adjust the Z value for normal cases. There may be a case where you can adjust these other ones, but for normal cases, just adjust the Z value for these. There's also spawn location adjustment. So it depends. You notice how those objects were hitting the ground. They was flat on the ground. I'm gonna show you a good example. So these two objects, the stairs and this little other thing, hits the ground perfectly, right? So now, but if I go to this square here, it's halfway through the ground. And in cases like that, you will want to adjust the spawn location adjustment. So I'm gonna set that to 100, right? And this is good with like obviously have physics or like AI. And you see here, it's slightly lifted off the ground in a safe location, so it's not clipping or anything like that. That's basically like once it spawns, that's like the fine-tuned adjustment for that sort of thing. I'm gonna set that back to the 0 just to demonstration purposes. Yeah, so that's basically what you have to work with here. I make sure that I have tooltips set up so that you know what's going on with these in case if you forget or you don't feel like watching this video again. Oh, and there's one more thing I have to mention. This is very important. I'm opening up the blueprint here so you can see. If I go here, please make note of these right here. This is very important. Of course, you would have to have a begin overlap and end overlap for this gate property right here. And that corresponds with this spawn area that you saw in the world. But in the spawn area, you don't have to, but I did this in this template and I kind of recommend you do it too. It's convenient for you to be able to have this cube or this the spawn area collision be in its own object channel type. That way, so it doesn't interfere with your world dynamic objects or where static objects, pawn objects. It doesn't interfere with any of that. And so I just made it a level here, make it a level object. And for the player object, the blue guy you saw, he is a player character. So if I'll just show you, just so I'm making myself clear. And I don't remember where he was. I think he is right. Yeah, here he is. So open up. There you go. So yeah, blue guy. If you go to this capsule component and then translate this for your character, if this is your character, you will be doing the same thing. Go to your capsule component, and then you see his object type is player. That way, so no one else is a player besides the pawn that the player is controlling. That way, so in case if you have if you're spawning AI, in most cases you don't want the AI to spawn enemies to you. You want you to spawn spawn enemies on you. So that's why I have it separate. That way, so enemies can be pawns, but your player is just your player, right? And you just set the collision accordingly. And of course, have him still block everything you need him to block and whatnot. Have him specifically block the level. So the level is your world spawn object. Have it block the world spawn object. And over here, have this ignore itself, right? You don't want it to overlap with itself just in case you want them to overlap. So have it ignore level objects, because you can have multiple world spawn objects, for big open worlds or small linear levels, and have it overlap the player, and that should be fine for that. Nextly, over here I have to make sure this. This is a switch on it that is connected to a range, right? You can set the range to pipe out different values here. You can add more pins, see, just like that if you wanted to. Remove that. And but once you add it though, hook it up basically just like this. If it's like an actor, you would use this node, of course, and hook it up in here. Put this transform into the one you just added, right? And then after that, make it go into this branch. That way, the spawn count will be able to work the same way. And then unless you want to spawn infinitely, no matter what, but that's a little bit of your game. You can modify this any way you want to, of course. So you bought it. But yes, and then it's also, I don't have it here, but if you were, oh yes I do. I make sure you see how you hook up the AI. It's pretty simple, but from this right here, you would just the spawn location to fine tune here. You would just type that out into the location, and that'll be fine. And you can also like change the rotation. Like if you want to spawn looking at the player, find look at rotation, plug into rotation, that sort of thing. But that's just an example. And you pick your what you want to spawn inside there, inside these. Like you see cube mesh, bump stack mesh, that sort of thing. And the thing is about this is a spawner. It's like a I call it a universal spawn system because it can be used for just about anything. You could spawn particle systems. You could use it for, of course, AI actors, anything. And so I want to basically be multi-purpose. So I can hop out of here now. Kapow. But yeah, for any reason, like so, I'll give you just a quick example. You step into this room in a linear game, a linear shooter. You step into a room. You will want to say you want 3 enemies to spawn up on you just before you get into the room. So you would do that, but you need to be instant that way, so that just in case they're running fast, the enemies will be in there. But you want them to ambush you. You set all these values like this, right? Instant spawn, only 3 enemies. Have them spawn. Let's say 3. Have them spawn around you a bit, right? And have them spawn a little bit close to you. You want them to kind of ambush you. So 200 to 400. And you have that, right? And then this is fine here. The trace distance stuff is just like really like in case if there is a problem, you know, you can address that with this value, but you don't need to usually. But if you do, it's there for you. I want to make sure that was exposed so you know what to do. So you have that scenario, right? And you're over there. Click play, and boom. You have 3 actors that are spawning just right next to you. Just happen to all spawn to your right side. That's kind of, so if I were to do it again. Yeah, that's why you would need to test it a bit, but that's the idea. See, right there, they all spun around you in that case. There's just 3 of them. And so this is basically, I'm submit this to a marketplace. Hopefully Epic picks this to be up on the marketplace. You know, I'm pretty sure this will be pretty useful to people. And let's see, is there anything else I need to show off? I think that's pretty much it. Of course, if you step outside this radius, it stops working. You step back in the radius, it does work. You know, that sort of thing. You could adjust it. You could have multiple of them. And of course, you could copy and paste it, or you could make a new blueprint for this, and then just change what things spawn for it. And you know, you can modify it how you will. I just wanted to make sure it was scalable. That's why I kept it the way it was. And so here it is, universal spawn system. I'm gonna be submitting this marketplace. Thanks for watching. Please remember to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, again, thanks for watching. See you next time.